Morning, folks. Just sort out the Facebook audience. Okay, that's Facebook made public. Morning, folks. Yeah, a wee bit to get on board. As we were talking yesterday in the Two Davies, we were talking about a decision to be made on the early release of some long-term prisoners to alleviate overcrowding in prisons. Well, apparently the decision has been made, and 500 long-term prisoners shall be released back into the communities. Now, there's a lot of provisos on it, but let's have a look once enough he's on board to see what the rags have got to say about it this morning, shall we? As we peruse the headlines. Okay, pick up the iPad. We're up to the 50 mark, so let's get this broadcast underway. It's Indy Truck Davy out the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where I always am these days. I've got no intention of getting back into a truck if I can avoid it. But I'm keeping the moniker because I broadcast for the truck for a number of years and it was given to me by a friend. It was made up for me after my first broadcast by a young lady called Marion Plunkett. Bless her. Okay, let's get this underway. First up, the Scottish Daily Fail goes on. How to cheat on your spouse without getting caught, and I'll put it off for the main headline. The main headline's a doozy. As SNP set free even more dangerous prisoners before their sentence ends, Swinnies slap in face for victims of crime. Funny that, I don't remember the Daily Fail having the same outrage in England as they're doing exactly the same thing at this point in time. In fact, the new administration was just in the door in England when they started releasing prisoners to alleviate the overcrowding in the English prison system. As I say, I don't remember that. And I peruse the papers every morning, the ones from north and south of the border. I don't remember, hey, Labour slap in face to victims. Starmer slap in face to victims. I don't remember that being splashed all over the fucking headlines. Colonies are doing it, bad colonies. Mother England's doing it, well that's fine. No fuss here, nothing to see, move along. Wow. Anyway, this one's even worse. You know, because this one should know better. In fact, they should all know better. I'm going to explain to you why in a wee second, why they should all know better. But I'm going to stick a Scotsman up next. Betrayal as hundreds of prisoners get early release. Folks, I'm going to tell you something that you don't know, but should know. There is not a single prisoner ever serves full time in a Scottish prison, or an English, or a Welsh prison, or a Northern Irish prison, no doubt, unless the judges set them a real terms life sentence, which basically means they don't get out. But everybody else, according to mygov.scot and Prisons and Parole Service, anybody on what they call a short-term sentence, that's a sentence of 4 years or less, they're released after they've done 50% of their sentence. So you're in the pokey for 4 years, be a good person, stick to the rules of the prison, and you're out in 2. automatic release after you've served half your time. Long-term prisoners are eligible for parole after they've served 50% of their sentence. The majority of long-term jail prisoners, are generally released at about 60% time served. And even those who are given a full sentence and have to serve it, and I don't mean a lifetime prison sentence, I mean a full sentence with no possibility of parole, they all get out 6 months before the end of their sentence as they go through a rehabilitation process to get them ready to go back into civilian life, because they've been in prison that long, they have become institutionalised and they can't do nothing for themselves. So there you go, folks. This bollocks in the papers, whether it's in Scotland, England, Wales, Northern Ireland, it is exactly that, bollocks. Now, you can find all this information for yourselves right here at prisons and paroles at mygov.scot. Now, I don't normally treat my viewers as fucking idiots, so I won't be putting up a link. I have shown you where to find it, but I don't treat my viewers like idiots. I know my viewers know how to use a search engine. So there you go, folks. Not a single prisoner across these islands ever serves a full term in prison. Ever. Unless it's a whole life sentence. And they're never to get out. Then nobody, absolutely nobody, serves a full prison term. As I've just said, short term, less than 4 years, you're released at 50% of your term served. The majority of long-termers, 4 years and above, are released at 60% of terms served, and they're eligible for parole at 50% of their term served. And as I say, those who are coming up on the end of a fixed term sentence, because judges can do that, they can pass a sentence with no possibility of parole until the sentence comes to an end, they're out 6 months before the sentence is up. So this nonsense in the papers, and the Scotsman, and the Daily Field, and everybody else knows this stuff. They like to treat us like fucking idiots. They like to go search for outrage which isn't there. They like to create outrage which isn't there. Because everybody knows who has been in contact with prisons and prisoners, and that's almost every fucking family at one point or another, knows that nobody serves a full term. Nobody. Right, let's move on. Take A2 down. Right, let's move on. Next one is the Herald. No, that's not. Next one up is the Telegraph. And it goes on Scots criminals to be freed after 40% of jail term. No according to mygov.scot. The rules were updated in 2020, and that's what I was looking at. But if they are going to change it to allow people to walk at 40%, they'll need to put something through the Parliament and get the approval of the Parliament. So another bollocks headline. You know, this isn't a fucking banana republic. We have processes to go through in order for these things to change. Wow. Right, the Herald goes on. Tourism boss hails a strategy that led to spending boost. And this is the new head of Visit Scotland, who says the Scottish Government's strategy to increase visitor numbers from overseas has worked a bloody treat, and our tourist industry is booming. Now, a bit unusual to get a good news story in the Herald, so we'll take it while we get it, eh? Right, the Rancid, the Daily Rancid, the Daily Record, for those outside Scotland, which is a Scottish exclusive only paper. It has Kate has hugs for attack heroes, and we'll get Mary and we'll get one of the other papers up. An exclusive Dirty Dog. Brewdog forced to dump millions of pints of punk IPA. Ale was contaminated by hygiene issues at the brewery. Supply chiefs fire warning to staff over infected beer. Now, apparently, if you're a Brewdog drinker, your punk IPA has been recalled because apparently the people making it are a bunch of clatty gits and they haven't been keeping the brewery clean. Oof, I'm glad I do not drink Brewdog. Right, let's move on. The Scottish Daily Express has, I'm going to put this one up because this one made me laugh. This one really made me laugh, I have to say, folks. This is another one like the one in the Mail. This one cracked me right up. Everybody's been saying this for long enough, but it's only new that there's a Labour administration that the loony rag, the Express, goes on this. And it's Labour winter fuel cut slammed for leaving pensioners to make an impossible choice, to heat or eat. Now, 14 years of fucking austerity. And for as long as I have been alive, or I can remember, pensioners in the UK have suffered in the winter because they can't afford to heat their homes. But through the last 14 years of a Conservative administration, where pensioners have been facing that choice every year anyway, because the UK has the lowest state pension in the developed world, where was the fucking Express's outrage then? Listen, their outrage now is justified. Because a proportion of our society, which was already majority in fucking poverty, just got worse. Their existence just got worse. They were already. We had newspapers and television about this stuff before the Labour administration came in, where we had reporters going out to visit people, and they were showing you empty fridges and sitting fucking freezing. And grandma only having one bowl of soup so grandpa who's got dementia could get fed each day. About parents skipping meals so that their kids can get fed because of the two-child cap, eh? Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's move on for the Looney Rag the Express. And we'll get the Times up. Workers' bill set to help unions raise Labour cash. Now, I knew there had to be something in this bloody workers' bill. And apart from it, I've been going through it, folks. The trade unions will be allowed to increase the amount of membership pie, and they'll also be allowed to hand over more of the membership to membership fees to the Labour Party. Okay, there's also something about carers getting an increase in the care allowance. So there is some things in it, but not a bloody lot. Right, and the National, it goes on. Johnson slur. Scots happy to avoid work in lockdown. All right, now I'm going to put this one up. I'll put it up. Bugger it. Because this one cracked me up and all. It really does. Now listen, folks. See this. Scots happy to avoid work during lockdown sort of thing. You know, this is all part of the narrative that we're getting slapped into us for such a long time by the union. Our imperial masters down that road. You know, this is all part of the too wee, too poor, too stupid narrative. Lazy jock, drunk jock, junkie jock. The usual stuff. They're trying to reinstate the cringe. Anyway, apparently, Johnson, where am I've lost the bloody paper I was on. Anyway, Johnson also took a swipe at Princess Twinkle Toes Sturgeon. That's the woman he ran away from in Butte House because he was shite scared there. And Union Safe, thanks to Alistair Jack, according to Johnson's new book. The one that interests me there, of course, is Envoy Grey to Miss Nations and Regions meeting. We'll get a wee bit more of that as we go further through the paper review as well. Okay. What's up next? The I. Carers set for pay rise under new Rayner law. There you go. Workers can push for higher wages through new negotiating bodies. And that way I heard that. And they're going to increase the carers' wages to £12 an hour. Here in Scotland, we did that a few years back. We increased it to £12.50, but the trade unions weren't happy with that, and that's why the National Care Service didn't come into existence. The sun goes on. Kate's tribute on surprise Royal Southport visit. And that relates back to the hugs for heroes of Southport. And that's about these three wee lasses that were murdered, which led to riots as they burnt their own fucking house down. Some weird people down that road. The Metro goes Alice 60 and hammered. But Florida dodges worst case scenario and it's on the hurricanes that David and I were talking about. Right. Now, I'm sure I've missed something. What have I missed? It seems I've got it all. Anyway, before we move on to the Star, because you know, we always end up with a Star, because the Star cheers us up. It's a good comic. But before we move on, folks, the sort of outrage we see here in Scotland and our colonial press, it's just mental. It doesn't take a couple of minutes with somebody with half a brain to say, hey, hold on a minute, that doesn't fucking sound right. And to jump onto your search engine and have a look, like the prisoner release thing. It took me seconds, absolute seconds, but I knew where to go to find the information. But you didn't have to need to know where to go to find the information on prisons and parole. All you had to do was type into your search bar, do Scottish prisoners serve their full terms in jail? And all this stuff would have come up. Absolutely mental. Now let's get back and find the Star and find out what nonsense it's got for us today. The Star. I don't know, I've got to get by all the local rags. Nothing interesting in the local rags, folks. If there was, I would flag it up for you. Anyway, the Star, what's the Star got for us today? Let's put it up, because let's face it, the Star always gives us a smile in such a miserable fucking world. Morning, Larry. The chaos in Downing Street, nothing's changed for you, Larry. You get one bumbling set of idiots out and another bumbling set of idiots in. Don't know what one's worse. Right, anyway, up comes the Star. What's the Star got for us here in the day? Bonnet de Douche. Only Fools legend backs mega important Star campaign to spare classic put-downs from existence. And Del Boy, as you can see in the picture, save our gits and plonkers. You can tell that it's an English rag with a Scottish tab on it, because the eccentricity of these bampots is no real. A campaign to save stereotypes and idiots. Insults. You couldn't make it up. A campaign to save stereotypes and insults. No wonder they call it a woke fucking world. Mental. So there you go, folks. We've just more or less went through the bollocks in the paper, and 95% of it, when you look beneath the skin of the headline, is bollocks. Absolute bollocks. But it is good fun to go through, folks. You know. Aye, Sir Larry. Save our gits and plonkers. Save them. You seem to have them all housed in that big house of yours at number 10 Downing Street. That's where all the gits and plonkers seem to be. Are you collecting them, Sir Larry? Are you collecting all the gits and plonkers, are you? Good for you, sir. Somebody, according to the Star, has got to save our gits and plonkers. You be as well keeping them all there in number 10 out our bloody road. Right, that's what I've got for you today, folks. I hope you found it interesting, funny, and informative, especially when we get the nonsense about early release for jail, as I say. But this is also going on in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, folks. The jails are overcrowded because there has been no funding, and funding cuts over the last 14 years. The envoy has now said no Scottish visit after all. The envoy apparently, that's the bit I missed, Gillian. Apparently the envoy has decided to take a wee step back from public life as doubts are raised on her position. Now this isn't because the natives here in the fucking colonies were raging. Apparently it was because the Governor-Generals of the colonies were raging that there had been a boss appointed over them. So there you go. The Governor-Generals for England, Scotland, there isn't one for England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland objected to having an envoy in charge of them. There you go. So apparently Sue Gray has been shuffled off until the next round of knighthoods comes, or honours, or whatever you want to call them, where she'll be quietly stuffed into the House of Lords. So there you have it. There's another prediction for you. But aye, prisons are nice and warm. And you get fed 3 times a day, Millie. Yeah. Maybe we should let the prisoners out and put the pensioners in. Give them a better chance of survival. Right, I'll catch you all later. Look after each other. Thanks for tuning in decent numbers. For a YouTube channel our size, I have to say we have great live viewing numbers. I've seen bigger channels no drawing over 100 viewers live at any one time. So there you go. I'm quite happy with you guys. I hope you guys are happy with us. Now, I'll catch you on Monday to do it all again, because I don't do the weekends unless something gets off my dander. Then you'll get a Davy shot. Look after yourselves. I've got to feed the cat and then go and pick up Madam Director because she finishes early on a Friday. The weekends, that's when all the drudgery gets caught up on. Housework, shopping, recycle centre. Ah well, see you all on Monday to do it all again. Have a nice day.